Hey, hey, hey. Marin, how are you today?
Hey, it's day three. I'm good. I'm stoked. I'm really enjoying this conference.
I am too. And it is actually, like you said, day three. This is the final day of the conference, and we have a lot in store. But before we get that, maybe a quick reflection on day two. What was your take on day two, Marin?
Oh, wow. Well, there was a lot to enjoy. I think for me, it was interesting the change of pace between the blogathon that we had on day one, where a lot of conversations were evolving. And then on day two, you then saw everybody live, like joining in to all these sessions. That was exciting. And the first session that I saw live was the one that Mary and Bill did, Mary Isbell, and they were
Yes.
talking about their Wondercat project. And I must admit, I've never heard about any of that. And I was like, wow. So I got less than rabbit holes yesterday because I managed to learn lots of new stuff, which was very cool.
Yeah, and there was a lot of surprises for me. I mean, obviously Bonnie's keynote was amazing, and listening to Tim Clapdoor and Mary Isbell's talk was great as well. But like the interactive session at right after the kind of music, no, right before the music,
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
when
An archivist goes to the playground
yeah,
with
Archivist
Andy.
Goes with
Yeah.
Andy Meyer was amazing. And so also shout out to Jason for a great lunchtime DJ set.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but his was amazing. He's a shared hosting client. He does this passion project where he goes around to all the playgrounds in Chicago,
Hmm.
500 of them, and he's documented them and put them into an Omeka instance. And like he has a Google Maps like reviews, he has an Instagram account, and this is
Wow.
kind of his archive of information and details around every playground in Chicago, public playground in Chicago. It's an amazing project, and many people came. It was like 20 people, and came and asked him questions, and it was just a wonderful session. So that was a great surprise for me. There were so many great
Hmm.
speakers like Alan Levine, Andy
Yeah.
Rush, right? Like it was a great day. So thank you everyone for contributing yesterday. It was a real blast.
Yeah. And like just to build on that, I think for me, the conference themes really came alive yesterday because one of the things when we planned for the conference and we talked about the themes, we really wanted to draw out voice and
Yeah.
your voice and how to make that heard on the open web. And obviously, Bonnie got us all thinking about all the different elements of that. But we also, as well as the tech, we wanted to talk about your world. And we encourage folk to make submissions that were about things outside of the classroom, whether that's adult education or vocational education or things like passion projects. And I was just starting today actually because of the time zone. I missed Joe Murphy's DS106 radio session last night. And so, yeah, right, for life. And so I was just starting my day listening back to that. Also, kudos, instant recordings available. That's beautiful.
Amazing.
I mean,
Linked right in the
wow.
day. It's so cool.
Yeah, right. And so I was listening to his session and I just thought, wow, it's his world. Like, it was amazing. So, another
Yeah.
highlight.
There were so many highlights. So if you have a chance, go to day two of the reclaimopen.com website and you get, like Marin says, instant links to all the recordings, including Bonnie's amazing keynote. So don't miss those. The only one that's not recorded, and it's by request and because it really didn't make sense,
Hmm.
was the playground session. And so that one you had to be there, right? There was a moment where you had to be, and that was that.
Right,
So what are
right.
we
And
looking for? I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I also wanted to give a shout out to Brian Mathers because for those of you who are active in the Discord chat on the conference, Brian has been sharing some really cool visual thinkery Easter eggs in the Discord, including lots of sketches from the blogathon on day one. So big kudos to Brian. I mean, we're big fans for life anyway, but that was really special.
I saw you got one from him. I saw
I
Doug
know, I
got
did.
one from him. I was like, wow, I mean, that's another form of blogging, right? Like every one of
Hmm.
those is like a post. And yeah, I mean, it's like like you said, it's like a great badge of honor when Brian Mathers turns his pen your way. So maybe that could happen to you. Who knows? The other thing, okay, turn a little bit to day three.
Okay.
Day three is as packed as day two.
Yeah.
And we start the day with our student showcase panel. So we
Yeah.
have 4 different kind of instances of students doing work as part of a kind of building a website and building out a project. And they'll be talking with us today on that first panel. That's an hour long from 10 to 11 Eastern. So don't miss it. Maren and I will be heading that one with them, and that's going to be a blast.
Yeah. And I think really important to, put student voices at the heart of the conference. We often talk about, some of us have been blogging rather longer than maybe we should have. And we want to hear from people who are kind of reinventing the open web in their way and shaping what's happening, now and what the future looks like. So I'm very excited about that. And I think we have lots of sessions all through the day. I'm not sure. Are you going to talk us briefly through the program just to give folks a little shout out?
Actually, I will. Actually, I pre-recorded with Mo Petzel and Tierney Steelberg and Destiny, whose last name is escaping me. That next one, Portfolio Websites for Arts and Humanities students. Great session. They will be talking us through like how they basically have systematically built out workshops to help students think about that sense of voice and that idea of persona online. Really great stuff. So if you're interested, it's a beautiful follow-up to the student showcase. So wonderful scheduling on your part there, Maren. And then after that, we've heard a bunch about it already when Ed Beck talked yesterday, and his session was another great session.
Oh, yeah.
And we are going to hear from the folks who are behind CBox, which is the open source kind of social media framework built out on, or social network framework built out on WordPress. The great folks at CUNY are behind that. And so that's going to be a great session at 11:30. And after that, we have Pilot. You go.
Well, this is one I'm looking forward to. For those of you who were part of the DS106 summer camp, you will know Pilot is a master of the board game. And we are going to play a live board game only here at Reclaim Open. So tune in for midday. We're going to play Brand Actualization, and Pilot is the games master. I've gotten this one to moderate immediately as soon as we wrote the schedule.
Wonderful. And it's actually another good segue. I didn't know we kind of brilliantly designed day 3 because on writing plenary panel is not really just going to be 9 people speaking. I don't even think they know this yet, but Maren and I have devised this session as a hour-long game show. And so they'll be walking in unknowingly into a series of questions and antics and nonsense, because they all have hour-long on writing videos that you can see and we'll point to during the session. But we just wanted to have fun with these great people who dedicated and donated their time to us over the last 6 to 9 months. So it's a big thank you to them. So don't miss that. That should be a raucous, fun session.
Right, the one and only. Yeah, and I scheduled some fun social posts around this, Jim, so you'll get some shout outs too. So yeah, I mean, this is a conference of firsts, and I want to give a big shout out to our team. Later this afternoon, we'll have Alexis, our news team member, in the driving seat for some of the sessions. Yesterday, we had Jason moderating very capably, and Jason is the DJ for lunchtime as well. And obviously, there's Taylor and Chris and everybody involved, making so seamless an experience. So there are not many teams that can pull off a blogathon, radio, a game show, pre-records, records, live board games. I mean, it's a conference of firsts.
Well, luckily we have a master leading them, and that ain't me. This one over here.
We did it again, Jim.
We did it again. We did it. Oh, but before we sign off, because I'm going to sign off with another thing special, because that's what we do. At 3:00 Eastern, you're going to hear from Paul Hibbets about his wonderful Doxify project, or Doxify this in this instance. And Paul's been kind of working with stuff like Gravatar and static websites. And we heard from Tim Clapdoor yesterday about Eleventy. So this is a whole nother niche of this conference that folks are getting into. And I love Paul's work. I love Paul's dedication to his work. And I just think he's doing amazing stuff. Thrilled that he's here. After that, we have a Reclaiming Virtual Reality with none other than Niall Barr. And this is interesting because I have not actually really seen the kind of decentralized web of the VR. So I'm super interested to see this session because it's new to me, and I'm excited to see what they're bringing and what they're talking about. oh my God, at 4 o'clock, we have
Mm.
Antonio Vantagiato, one of my nearest and dearest Italian connections. He's from Rome. He lives in Puerto Rico. He's been there forever.
Mhm.
And he teaches at Sagrado. And he's doing one that's called And Hast Thou Slain the Jabberwock? What is it about? I have no idea, but there is no question that it's going to be fun because it's Antonio and he absolutely rules all. Beyond that, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep on going because I'm excited just talking about the schedule. At 4:30 Eastern, so Antonio is at 4. At 4:30 Eastern, we have Ilya Kramer talking about his unbelievable archiving tool. And this is something we've worked with him. We've been talking with him recently, and I hope he shows off how their tool is archiving some of the U.S. Federal websites before January 18th and after to really kind of bring home how important this project is. And so he's talking about Web Recorder and more. So don't miss this. Great project, but I also think really timely and really, really important. At 5 o'clock, what do we have there, Maren? I'm not going to say everything.
Oh no, I'm going to let you keep going. I have something to say.
Okay, good. At 5 o'clock, we have another session from Ian O'Brien, and this one is building cooperative digital spaces. Digital spaces. He did a great session the previous day, and this one he's talking about privacy, choice, and community and educational technology. He's doing a lot of interesting projects. I already talked about his Promox. He's building his own home web server, but I wonder how that fits in with privacy and choice and other things. He had a lot to say about this yesterday, so it will be interesting to see where that conversation goes.
Yeah, I love this digital garden session and digging into Obsidian and the affordances of that tool. Like it was really eye-opening. So if you've missed that yesterday, go back and watch the recording for sure. And also kudos to him for doing a session from outside his classroom where he was about to start teaching 2 minutes after the session finished, live broadcasting.
Yeah,
so
he was
saying hi to his students as we were finishing. Like that was live education, on Reclaim. So that was awesome.
That's wonderful. And finally, Mark Corbett Wilson brings up the rear, and he'll be talking about improvising the future of digital storytelling. He's worked a lot with Joe Lambert, with the digital storytelling folks. And so he'll kind of be bringing a whole bunch of his experience, I'm sure, to talk about digital storytelling. And it's kind of a topic near and dear to this community's heart. We've already had presentations from DS106 folks. It's kind of one of the things that brought Reclaim together indirectly. Yeah. So I can never hear enough about digital storytelling. And that's actually closing out our third and final day of Reclaim Open. Tear, sad Banda.
I actually am feeling a bit emotional about that. But I want to give a big shout out to Mark, who is part of the DS106 Combobulating group. And because we're geniuses, we have planned the conference schedule so that the last session connects to the very first session that we started with on Tuesday, which is the DS106 Combobulating Network Collective. And Mark is one of them who's been tirelessly helping us promote, federate, drive the federation bus, the federating bus, I have no idea, but drive that throughout the conference. And if you haven't come across their site and their project, go back to the very beginning, first session on day one, and check that out, because that brings it all back together. And then you can just keep going round. So there's so much goodness.
Love will find a way, just give it time. That's Rat Out of the Cellar. Anyway, round and round. But we're going to end, speaking of rats out of the cellar, Brian Alexander, I'm sorry. That was not a good segue. The great Brian Alexander, who keynoted Reclaim Open in 2023 when we were at UMW, was going to be part of our Unwriting panel. But the fact is it kind of coincides with his own weekly show that he does by bringing on people, and he kind of opens it up, and it's a wonderful thing. He'll talk about that. So he sent a video ahead. So I figured we'd kind of close out at least this intro with a little talk from Brian Alexander about what writing means to him. And then I think that's a good way to end. So if that works for you, Maren, we're going to play this thing.
Great.
All right, Brian, speak to us. Wait, hold on. Yeah. Wait. Ah, damn it. There we go. Give me a second. Vimeo's killing me right now.
Greetings, everyone. I'm delighted to have been asked to join the Reclaim event as a lifelong fan of Reclaim and its gang of mad geniuses. I'm sorry I can't make this session live because at the same time I'm leading my video conversation program, so instead I'm sending you this video clip. Thinking about writing and blogging, I see this in a Janus-faced way, looking backwards in time and also forwards to where we might be going. Blogging has always centered on writing. Yes, we use images, maps, and embeds, but in the beginning was the word. The post's anchor was the word. Comments were words, the conversation and exchange of and within textuality. That was the stereotype and also the archetype of the blogger, someone furiously writing on a laptop and reading blogs extensively. I think about my own blogging history. In the late 1990s, I ran an information literacy project at Centenary College where I was teaching. I set up a website. This is all done in Notepad, pure HTML, each page uploaded by a cranky FTP client, and created a page with content in reverse chronological order. All news stories and reflections on what information literacy meant and what it did. I didn't know what to call it, but it felt good, and it was fun to work on. After that, I wrote blogs on all kinds of platforms, some of which are gone today and on different topics, but always focused on thinking through words and sentences, building arguments, describing ideas, telling stories, pushing conversations forward. Some lasted only for a single event or for a short-term program, while others ran for years. I'm still blogging right now. In fact, I have a post nearly done in another tab on this very machine. Some of us spoke of this blogosphere as an invisible college, an unbounded, ill-defined, magical cloud of networks within which we learn together. There remains something bold and almost foolhardy in hurling a post into the web and hoping someone else would make sense of it. There's something electric, something tangible in grabbing someone else's post and responding to it via a comment or your own post. It's like wielding heat lightning in the skies of a summer night. Or like stumbling into another dimension, one where Rod Serling might be narrating, but in a hopeful and friendly way. We did gather these flashes of light into learning, comradeship, and stories. Turning ahead to the future, where I spend much of my time, and the invisible blogging college seems to be just like one campus in a big system. Most of the other colleges are far more visible because they are based not on text but images, on sound and video. They have their own lightning storms, or better yet, their own metaphors for connections. There are other places where text is primary, or at least important, but they have a different architecture. Blue Sky, Mastodon, I expect some of you live there now, LinkedIn, Facebook, Threads, X/Twitter are all comments without posts. Remember when we called Twitter microblogging? The socials are now something else, a different campus on this landscape. Jeff Jarvis speaks of the Gutenberg parenthesis. His idea is until mass textual literacy, our information environment was primarily audio-based. We told and listened to stories. We heard songs and plays. Then Gutenberg's invention broke the mold, offering this bizarre way of knowing based on ink on pages. But it came gradually, growing over time, focused on a literate elite at first. Mass literacy came later, at different times and in different places. The 19th century for some, the 20th for others. That's breathtakingly recent in the full span of human history and society. And now it's fading, argues Jarvis. Gutenberg's world is being crowded out, not by speech, but by the full range of the digital world. A casual glance at Instagram, your favorite podcatcher, Steam, YouTube, and TikTok tell you it's a vibrant new world crammed with images and sounds, voices, and interactions. Shakespeare has one character, Caliban, say this: "Be not afeard, the isle is full of noises. sounds and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Where does blogging go from here? Where do we pixel-stained wretches, where do we bloggers stand? At times I think we become something like modern poetry. We write and read from passion and make no money whatsoever at it. We constitute an ecosystem with ornate and well-established schools of thought, perhaps ornery or just bizarre to the newbie. At other times, I suspect we mutate our practice as the landscape changes around our invisible college. We might use AI to identify topics or to help write, or we carve out AI-free spaces. I can imagine more bloggers proclaiming what percent of each post is human-created. Or we might become more vloggy, writing scripts which appear in videos like this one. Our words casting grand and perversely bright shadows which illuminate new audiences and colleagues. Some bloggers turn back to email newsletters, which in many ways function like blogs, i.e. setting up a website on a fixed identity, issuing a series of posts to which others respond with comments or their own posts. I've taken to doing this myself, enjoying hearing from readers and writing posts that Substack gently reminds me are often far too long for email. It's a mixed experience, back to old email, which is almost precisely as old as I am, yet forward to new interfaces and uses. If Jarvis is right, and we're living through the closing of the Gutenberg parenthesis, then maybe blogging dissolves, shrinking in size again, and its survivors turning their hands and eyes to new forms of writing and reading. Then it's our task to carry the blogging spirit forward, to knit together stories and communities with texts ancient and new, while Caliban's noises swirl around us. We can carry our invisible college forward, sometimes reflecting on these older academic entities, these other academic entities. And when we're doing it right, together we wield lightning in the skies.
I don't know what we're up for, but I like the whole kind of the spooky send out. But we're at 23 minutes, and I think this whole thing starts in about half an hour. So we got to get this video up.
Let's go and jump right in. Enjoy
Let's
your
do
day.
it. Here comes day 3, faster than we thought. Bye-bye. And thank you, Brian Alexander. You rule.
Nom nom nom.